You're an adult now. You make your own choices. You've built your own life. And yet, one text from your mom, one critical look from your dad, and suddenly you feel 12 years old again. It's strange, isn't it? You crave their approval, the warmth that comes when they finally say, "I'm proud of you." But at the same time, you feel this knot in your chest when they try to tell you how to live, as if their love still comes with strings attached. Why is that? Why do we carry this contradiction so deep into adulthood? That's the question we're diving into today. And if you stay with me till the end, you'll understand not only why this tension exists, but also how to finally break free without breaking away from the people you love. Let's begin where this conflict shows up most clearly, in the small but powerful moments of everyday life. Picture this. You've just landed a new job. You've poured yourself into applications, interviews, late nights preparing. Finally, you hear the words you've been waiting for. You're hired. The joy rushes in. You're proud, confident, alive. Naturally, you call your parents to share the news, but instead of pure celebration, you get questions like, does it pay enough? Is it stable? Are you sure this is the right direction? Suddenly, that wave of excitement crashes. It's not that they don't care, it's that their response makes your achievement feel smaller. Or maybe it happens in your relationships. You're dating someone who makes you happy, someone who understands you in a way that feels rare. You're glowing, full of possibility. But when you finally bring this person home, your parents' reactions are lukewarm at best. Maybe it's in the way they glance at each other, the subtle change in their tone, or the unspoken expectations you know they carry. And suddenly, what felt so solid starts to feel shaky. You begin to question what you once knew for certain, not because anything changed in your relationship, but because their approval didn't come. And then there are the bigger life choices, deciding to move to another city, changing your career path, even raising your children differently than you were raised. Deep down, you know these decisions are yours. You know they reflect your values, your growth, your vision of the life you want to live. And yet, in the quiet moments, you hear the old echo. Would mom approve? Would dad agree? That's the tug-of-war. On one side, approval feels like safety. Their nod makes you feel like you belong, like you're seen and validated. But on the other side, their criticism, their attempts to steer you, feel like invisible chains. You want to be respected as an adult, but you still feel like a child under their gaze. And here's the twist. This isn't proof that you're weak or immature or ungrateful. You're not broken for craving their approval, and you're not a rebel without a cause for resenting their control. Psychology shows us this very tension is baked into the way we were raised. But why? How could love and control become so entangled? To answer that, we need to turn to one of the great voices in psychology, Carl Rogers. Rogers wasn't the kind of psychologist who saw people as broken puzzles to fix. He believed, at our core, human beings are driven by one simple force, the desire to grow, to become the fullest, truest version of ourselves. He called this our actualizing tendency. Think of it like an inner compass, always pointing us toward growth, authenticity, and wholeness. But here's where things get complicated. Rogers also said that from the moment we're born, we don't just want to grow. We also desperately need love and acceptance. He called this positive regard, and when we're children, it feels like our very survival depends on it. Now here's the catch. Most parents, even loving ones, don't give love unconditionally. They give it with conditions. I love you when you behave. I'm proud of you when you achieve. I approve of you when you fit into my expectations. Rogers called these conditions of worth. And the moment they're placed on us, we begin to split inside. We crave their approval because approval feels like love, but we resent their control because deep down our real self knows love should never come with strings attached. So when you ask, why do I want their approval but hate their control? Rogers would say, it's because your heart is still chasing unconditional love in a world that offered it conditionally. But if that explains the problem, how do you actually live free of it? Here's where it gets even deeper. When parents tie love to conditions, it doesn't just affect what you do, it reshapes who you believe you are. Love tied to performance, obedience, or image sends a quiet but powerful message. You are worthy when you meet my expectations. You are less worthy when you don't. As children, we're too dependent to resist that message. So we adapt, we bend, we create a version of ourselves designed to keep love flowing. Rogers called this version the ideal self, the mask we build to earn approval. This ideal self can take many forms. For some, it's the obedient child who never talks back, never stirs conflict, always plays the role of the good one. For others, it's the high achiever, the professional who collects degrees, promotions, and accolades, always chasing that moment when the family finally says, "We're proud of you." And sometimes it's the dutiful son or daughter, always putting family first, even when it means putting your own needs last. And for a while it works. You get the smiles at the dinner table, the approving nods at family gatherings, the stories of your success repeated to relatives as proof of your worth. The approval feels sweet, even addictive. But here's the hidden cost. Your real self, the messy, authentic, complicated version of you, gets pushed aside. Your desires, your flaws, your quirks, your individuality, they're all quietly edited out of the script because they don't fit the conditions. That's why you still crave approval as an adult, because deep inside, part of you is still following those old rules. If I please them, I'm lovable. If I disappoint them, I'm less worthy. That conditioning runs deep. But that's also why you resent their control, because another part of you, the real you, knows the truth. It knows love shouldn't have to be earned. It knows you deserve acceptance without conditions. And when parents still try to steer your choices, that buried self rises up in protest, demanding freedom. It becomes a silent battle. Approval feels safe, but it also feels like surrender. Choosing yourself feels liberating, but it risks the loss of their affection. And the older you get, the heavier that battle becomes, because you realize that living only for approval means never fully living at all. And this is where Rogers' insights offer hope, because he believed the path back to wholeness isn't about rejecting your parents or erasing the past. It's about reconnecting with the self that's been waiting all along, the self that doesn't need conditions to be worthy. By the way, if this is connecting with you, if you felt that tug of war inside yourself, hit the like button and subscribe, because in the next part, we're diving into how you can actually start untangling this and living from your real self. So how do you actually do that? Carl Rogers believed the way out of this lifelong tug of war isn't about cutting ties or proving yourself harder. The antidote is something far more radical and far more liberating: unconditional self-acceptance. Think about it. Your parents may have loved you conditionally, rewarding certain behaviors, withdrawing approval when you strayed. The world continues the same pattern, measuring your worth by your income, your looks, your achievements, even your ability to fit in. But Rogers argued that the one person who can finally end that cycle, the one person who can give you the unconditional acceptance you've always needed, is you. So how do you actually start practicing this? First, notice the voice. Every time you feel the urge to seek approval, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's true to me, or because I'm afraid of losing someone's love or respect? That moment of awareness is powerful. It begins to separate your real self from the ideal self, the mask you've been wearing to earn approval. Simply catching that difference can feel like breathing air you didn't know you were missing. Second, practice small acts of authenticity. You don't have to dismantle your entire life overnight. Start with one area where you've been hiding. Maybe it's sharing an opinion you usually swallow. Maybe it's wearing clothes that reflect your taste, not your parents' standards. Maybe it's pursuing a hobby they'd never value. Each time you act from your real self, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. Third, redefine love itself. Rogers believed love is not earned, it's offered. If someone, even a parent, can't love you without conditions, that doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means their love is tangled up in their own fears, insecurities, and expectations. Their conditions say more about them than they do about you. And here's the payoff. The more you practice these steps, the less approval feels like oxygen you're gasping for. You begin to see your worth as something stable, something that doesn't rise or fall with someone else's nod. But Rogers left us with one final shift. the most powerful one of all. And if you embrace it, it changes not just how you see your parents, but how you see yourself. Here it is. Approval feels good, but freedom feels better. Think about it. Approval is temporary. It lasts until the next decision, the next mistake, the next moment of judgment. But freedom lasts as long as you keep choosing your real self over conditions of worth. You don't have to stop loving your parents to stop living for them. You don't have to cut ties to cut the strings. You simply have to turn inward and give yourself what you've been waiting to hear all along. I'm proud of you. I love you. I accept you exactly as you are. Because the truth is, the approval you've been searching for has been inside you this whole time. If this video spoke to you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Because here we don't just explore psychology, we explore the hidden battles inside our lives and how to come out freer, stronger, and more whole. So let me leave you with this. Your parents gave you life, but only you can give yourself the freedom to live it.